Bill Gates said something that if I would have said on YouTube, I might have gotten in big trouble. But here it is. I think he's at the World Economic Forum. So all the crazy maniacs who kill everybody are having, they're all rich and they get together. Is this in Davos, right? And so watch what he says about vaccine passports.
The idea of checking if people are vaccinated, if you have breakthrough infections, what's the point?
First of all, I like that he's wearing an actual suit and not a sweater, right? So you know he's serious. This is like before Mr. Rogers. This is when Mr. Rogers is still at work before he comes home and puts on the sweater. This is it, right? So let's listen to what he said once more time.
The idea of checking if people are vaccinated, if you have breakthrough infections, what's the point?
Well, the point would be not to get a strike on your YouTube channel. that would be the point. How about that? How about to weed out the non-compliant? That's also the point of vaccine passports. That would be the point. But mainly because surveillance is its own reward, isn't it, Bill? That's why. That's why vaccine passport. So there's Bill Gates coming out against vaccine passport, or even checking for. Well, he's saying checking for vaccines. What I'm guessing he means vaccine passports, right? Is that too crazy of me to infer? Here we go.
The idea of checking if people are vaccinated. If you have breakthrough infections, what's the point?
So again, Bill Gates, a billionaire, is and the head of Microsoft and the ruler of the WHO, is somehow a year behind the Jimmy Dore show. Isn't that amazing? We were saying that for a year.
Why is he leaving out valuable context of it slows the spread? What was that?
You have to give. If I said that, I would have to give all kinds of context. I would have to say, but the vaccines do slow the spread, and they do reduce transmission, and they do. I'd have to say all this stuff that YouTube makes you say.
Shit that is out of context with what we're talking about.
Right.
Which is, what good does it do?
But there he is. He's like, what's the? So I was saying that ever since I found out about breakthrough infections, and I interviewed Dr. Robert Malone, and when he told us that you can't vaccinate your way out of this pandemic, that the vaccines are leaky, meaning if you get the vaccine, you can still transmit it and you can still contract it. Although YouTube says that it slows both those things. So that's when I was like, well, then vaccine passports are ridiculous. And that's when I realized you should get vaccinated to protect yourself. And boy, that made me a pariah. People say that I'm aligning with fascists because I said that about what Bill Gates just said. And if you agree with what Bill Gates just said, then what is the point of vaccine mandates? There is no point. And so, again, we were right, and the people who were wrong will never take responsibility for being wrong about that, and they'll never apologize. But they will. It's called external locus of control. So if you're an alcoholic, you blame everybody outside of yourself for what is wrong in your life. And that's what alcoholics do, and that's what people do. And you see that happening. And it's called external locus of control. And as I've said, we're a country full of adult children of alcoholics. We don't get mad at the guy who's screwing you. They get mad at the person telling you the guy's screwing you, which was me for a year. So when I got injured by the vax and I started to look into it, everything I looked into, they were lying about. They were lying about masks. They were lying about gain of function. They were lying about funding gain of function. They were lying about the origin of the virus. They were lying about herd immunity. They were lying about natural immunity. They were lying about they were suppressing early treatment. They're doing all kinds of things. They were lying about ivermectin, telling you it was horse poison. They didn't tell you about monoclonals. They didn't tell you there was a treatment for this. It's called monoclonals, which is why Chris Christie and Trump, both obese people who are elderly, were able to get it and walk out of the hospital a couple days later. That's why. So they weren't telling you anything. They're still lying. And we have regulatory capture, and people still don't have a critique of it. People still don't have a critique of Fauci or Collins or the Barrington Declaration or what they did to smear people who were pushing back against their lies. Still, they're leaving it to the Jimmy Dore show. And I say, thank you for the lane. Thank you for the lane.
I think it's big of Bill Gates to come forward and admit when he was wrong.
Bill Gates can admit he's wrong. There's Bill Gates admitting he's wrong.
Did you see, Jimmy, did you see Klaus Schwab and the CEO of Pfizer talking at the World Economic Forum about vaccines?
I saw a little bit, but not what did you see?
They were just complaining about how difficult their lives are because they're targeted by anti-vaccine conspiracy theorists. But I don't know. I'd love to hear their response to what Bill Gates had to say in that clip right there.
I would like to hear one conspiracy they can point to that hasn't been proven true.
I'd like to hear their dueling accents while they do it.
That was my favorite part, actually.
I can't even do
it. That's how he kind of sounds like that. Klaus sounds like a guy with an accent and a little bit like that Zizek guy, whatever that guy's name is.
He sounds like Darth Vader.
He does. Here's what I said. I tweeted out about this. I said, good to see the self-appointed vaccine czar, Bill Gates, a college dropout with no medical degree, but billions of dollars, finally catching up to pothead comedians. And people did not want to agree with that. Only got 600 likes. They have hurt feelings that we were right about this. People don't want to agree that, yes, Jimmy, you were right and we were all wrong about this.
If Bill Gates is a college dropout with no medical degree but billions of dollars, does that mean he's smarter than a doctor?
That's
how I think it.
That's what that reporter said to Dana White when he was talking about how come you can't get monoclonals anymore. And the guy says, are you a doctor? Is Bill Gates a doctor? No, Bill Gates didn't even go to college, didn't finish college. So here we go. Why won't people trust the science? This is from John Hawkins. He says, why won't people trust the science? They cried as the science finally reached conclusions most people had figured out 18 months earlier. Well, I wasn't that far ahead. I was 12 months earlier. So there you go. And here's some more stuff that Bill Gates said.
But, here we're lucky. If this had been 10 years ago, some of these vaccine technologies did not exist. If it comes 10 years from now, we should have far, far better diagnostic technology. That is, be able to scale up every country within a month to diagnose their entire population. We should have much better therapeutics, some of which will be pathogen independent. And then, as we do come up with vaccines, we want vaccines that are infection blocking and long duration, which today, the vaccines have saved millions of lives.
Why is this guy talking about what we need to have in vaccines? He doesn't know anything about it. He's not a doctor even. He's not even a nurse. He's not even an internist. He's not even a candy striper. He's not a virologist. I don't even know if he ever took a science class in college. This guy is just a guy with a lot of money. So he gets to throw his money around and then people have to listen to him, which is why he funds the WHO. That's why people are listening to him, because he has a lot of money. Doesn't know anything. If that was me, people would be saying, that guy's not a doctor.
But do you at least agree with his position that we should have vaccines that don't suck? I mean, I think what he's saying is true.
He's got more to say here.
But they don't have much in the way of duration, and they're not good at infection blocking.
What?
The vaccines were not good at infection blocking. Let's listen to this again, because this is quite to listen to this guy. But before I do, I want to show you this. So just to show you this again from John Hawkins, he says, why won't people trust the science? They cried as the science finally reached conclusions most people had figured out 18 months ago. It's because science, I appreciate that tweet. I agree with the sentiment, but let me just add to it. Let me go yes and. Science didn't finally reach that conclusion. The official narrative finally reached that conclusion after suppressing any science that didn't fit its initial conclusion. So that's what happened. And I believe they all knew this stuff. If I knew it, they knew it. They all knew it, and they suppressed it, which is what we found out from the Pfizer document dump, that they were suppressing all kind of information about the vaccine trials, including that they knew natural immunity was as good. They suppressed it. They made people lose their jobs.
Why would they have to redact anything if they trust the science?
That's right.
Why would you have to black any of it out?
So here, let's listen to what he has to say again. And again, here's a guy who's a college dropout talking like he's a scientist, a virologist, a specialist. He's neither of those things. He knows about as much about it as I do. I bet I know a little bit more.
But, here we're lucky. If this had been 10 years ago, some of these vaccine technologies did not exist. If it comes 10 years from now, we should have far, far better diagnostic technology. That is, be able to scale up every country within a month to diagnose their entire population. We should have much better therapeutics, some of which will be pathogen independent. And then, as we do come up with vaccines, we want vaccines that are infection blocking and long duration, which today, the vaccines have saved millions of lives, but they don't have much in the way of duration, and they're not good at infection blocking.
So what he's admitting is what I was saying a year ago, which is why mandates are bullshit, is that the vaccine he said, well, I'm quoting him. So YouTube, don't take down my channel. I'm quoting him. He said that that the vaccines were not good at infection blocking.
It's incredible the way he says it too.
It's incredible.
Tone, he's like, yeah, no, of course they're not good. I mean, come on, we know this. It's like for the past 2 years, you've been telling us the exact opposite.
He said they don't have any duration and they're not good at infection blocking, which is why you shouldn't have mandates.
I'm sure he'll tell the truth about monkeypox, though.
Yeah.
Hopefully, have some vaccines that you don't need 4 helpings of vaccine to.
In 1 year.
In 1 year.
So in 10 years, maybe we'll be back to the old definition of vaccines before they changed it. Is that what he's saying? Maybe in 10 years, we'll be back to the old definition? Because they changed the definition of vaccines. Literally changed the definition for COVID. So
it grants immunity? Was that the old one?
You know what? I don't know. I'd have to check with another college dropout who runs a computer company. But I'm sure he knows. So there you go. There's Bill Gates and his bullshit. And you're all chumps. If you don't question anything this guy's pushing, you're a chump. If you don't have a critique of this, because this guy is a psychopath, he's a maniac, and I'm pretty sure he's a pedophile. I can't say for certain, but his wife did leave him after it came out that he was at that pedophile island with Jeffrey Epstein, and he doesn't have any answers for it. So we do know that.
A hebophile, too.
What's that?
You might just be a hebophile.
What is that?
That's teenage, prepubescent is pedophile.
Oh, really?
Teens is hebophile.
Oh, sounds like it had something to do with Hebrews. I was like, what's going on?
No, he's not a Hebrew-phile.
That's what I'm like. He goes after Jews? I get turned on by Jews. Okay. So there you go. That's the guy. That's our guy. The guy who's bought up media all over the world. So he gets positive coverage. He donates to the WHO so he can control them. The guy who's running the WHO, by the way, just embraced terrorists in Ethiopia, said they were his brother. I should have put that together as a thing, as a segment today, but I didn't. Okay.
Hey, if Bill Cosby's a doctor, I don't see why he can't be a virologist.
Hey, we're doing stand-up comedy in Irvine, California, Las Vegas, San Diego, Salt Lake City, Indianapolis, Louisville, all over the place. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for tickets.